So after winning the Conference League, we've got Europa League football to look forward to. We've got next to no wage budget, but about £55 million to spend. But the club finances are not looking so healthy. But in good news, we have Kefren Turam already secured for a free transfer. But again, the bad news, Alex Scott is being aggressively pursued by Chelsea. And with his contract expiring in 12 months, do we gamble on keeping him or do we try and cash in? I think for the good of the club, we've got to sell him. And you know what? I think I'm okay with it. We needed wages and we needed more money, so the exodus of players began with Diallo, who we sold for $7.5 million, rising to 10 in add-ons. James Bree finally left the club after seasons of trying for $2.1 million. Youngster Samuel Edozie went to Anderlecht for $8.75, Juan Larios departed for $11, Carlos Alcaraz headed to Montpellier for $5.5, Kamari Doyle to Fulham for $11 million, Coletta Carr out the door for $10.75, Lingard to Panathinaikos for $6.5, and Mara to Watford for $15 million. We managed to get ourselves another free transfer, Højbjerg from Spurs, whose contract expired, so there we go, more good cover in central midfield. Amad Diallo sadly opted for Lyon instead of us, however, I won't lose any sleep over this one. And then we signed Evan Ferguson for $20.5 million from Brighton, a good young prospect. Now, we do have 3 forwards. 2 up top this season? If so, we'll need one more with Mara leaving. We met the release clause of Maxim Decker for £23 million, strengthening our resolve at the back. Tall and solid at almost everything, young with more potential. I'm very happy with this acquisition. But we had lots of money to spend, and spend it we did, on marquee signing, your best friend and mine, Benjamin Sesko, meeting his £47 million release clause. Welcome to the club, Ben. Then, Alex Scott wanted a new contract. What? You know I said let's sell him for the good of the club? Yeah, that was a lie. I'm buzzing he wants to stay. 95k a week, £108 million release clause, another key signing. And with that, I generally feel this squad is a couple of years progression away from winning the Premier League. Top 4 this season? And the transfer business is out the way and we're pretty light on funds, so we're very happy with where we are and the 2 up top system is born. Welcome to the SAS, the Southampton Asymmetric Shambles. And the season kicked off with a dramatic opening game away at Aston Villa. Lorenzo Luca putting us ahead early on with a fabulous dink before Villa came back to lead 2-1. In the 90th minute, Villa grabbed a third with some pretty shambolic defending. 3-1, a poor start to our new formation. But straight from kickoff, Kamaldeen Sulemana grabbed one back before a debut goal for Evan Ferguson. It ended 3-3, coming from 2 behind in injury time. Evan Ferguson already becoming a cult hero. And the 90th minute drama continued into our next game, this time going against us. After Zaha put Palace ahead early on, it was a brace from £47 million man, Benjamin Sesko. But it was Zaha again who equalised in the 94th minute from an absolute howler from Bazunu. That's 2 games, 2 draws, 10 goals. Going to be an entertaining season. And it was 3 draws in a row. Luca with a brace putting us ahead, and we conceded 2 in the last 10 minutes. 2-2. That's 7 goals conceded in 3 games. Is our new formation leaving us too exposed? Is it too early to panic and change? We then got our first clean sheet of the season as we beat Swansea 1-0 in the Carabao Cup. And we finally got our first win in the league, a 3-0 against Norwich, a brace for Benjamin Sesko, and a goal for Alex Scott. August closed with an award for Benny Sesko, Player of the Month, a flying start for the £47 million man. If you think I'm going to stop mentioning this price tag, you've got another thing coming. Our Europa League fixtures were drawn and I was pretty confident of getting through. Leipzig and Sporting are tricky games. Time will tell. After the international break, we had Manchester City away from home, our biggest test so far. 7-0 to Southampton. I'll say it one more time. 7-0. Joking aside, this was utter domination. 2 for Ward-Prowse, 2 for Alex Scott, and 2 for Lorenzo Luca. That's 10 unbeaten for the Saints. And we started our Europa League campaign slowly, falling behind against Olympiacos after 9 minutes. Young Evan Ferguson equalised after 20 minutes before Olympiacos restored their lead going into the break. We started the second half like a tornado, taking just 3 minutes for Marcus Leonardo to draw us level, then 6 more minutes for Evan Ferguson to get his second. We held on for a 3-2 win and we're off to a great start. We continued our unbeaten start against Leeds with goals from Alex Scott, Sulemana and a hat-trick for Ben Sesko. A fabulous 5-1 win which leaves us third after 6 games. Luka and Sesko are sharing the lead in the average rating, and the £47 million man, there it is again, is the top scorer. It's a long way to go, but a fabulous start. We strolled into the Carabao Cup against Charlton and picked them apart. Evan Ferguson scored a hat-trick and Marcus Leonardo popped up with a goal in injury time. He's actually our least prolific striker right now. We've come a long way from being overly reliant on him in the past couple of seasons. Bottom of the table, Bournemouth next, and we managed to get the win. 3-1 we took it, and comfortably. Sesko versus Luka was the story here, as they're jockeying for Player of the Month and Golden Boot awards. Here, Luka put his flag in the sand and scored a magnificent hat-trick. It seems playing with a strike partner has given him a new lease of life. And with that hat-trick, he did secure the September Player of the Month award. Maxime Decker took September Young Player of the Month award, and we made it a clean sweep, with yours truly taking Manager of the Month award. We were then notified that we're unbeaten in 19, and we'll break that by avoiding defeat against Genk in the Europa League. We took the lead with a goal from Marcus Leonardo before Genk equalised a few minutes later. Evan Ferguson put us back ahead, but once again, Genk pegged us back before half-time. Evan Ferguson got his second just inside the second half. As Genk chased the equaliser, substitute Lorenzo Luca made it 4 before Marcus Leonardo got his second of the game, rounding off a flattering 5-2 win. And with that, it's 20 games unbeaten. How long can it continue? West Ham away, and it was a resounding win. Goals from all the S's: Sesko, Scott, Sulemana and Luca. Bloody hell, Lorenzo, ruining the alliteration with your pursuit of the Golden Boot. What a strike though. Next was Man United, and considering we won 7-0 last time we faced a club from Manchester, I was confident, until Victor Osimhen opened the scoring. I thought we were on a good run so we can bring it back, however then Bruno Fernandes dispatched a penalty. Half time it was 2-0, but on the hour mark Evan Ferguson got one back, and with 2 minutes to go, Mateus Franca popped up and snatched a point. This puts us top, 9 games in, and the top 2 is us and Leicester, 2 teams that were in the Championship 3 seasons ago. Our Europa League campaign continued against Rennes with another victory. Franca opened the scoring, and then Sesko grabbed a 16-minute hat-trick at the back end of the game, a solid 4-2 win. And the undefeated start came to an end in a 1-0 defeat to Everton. But we bounced back from that defeat in the Carabao Cup against Leeds. Not the most convincing of wins, an injury time winner from Benjamin Sesko, more injury time drama against Leeds. And then in the league, it was back-to-back defeats, losing 3-1 to Newcastle. All the wheels falling off, we succumbed to our first Europa League defeat then against Leipzig. We needed to get back to winning ways, and back to winning ways we got against Wolves, a solitary goal from Swedish sensation Uni Bargi. But then we lost 3-1 away at Spurs, and after 13 games we've slipped down to 8th in the league. I feel like overconfidence and bragging about how good we were doing was a little bit premature. We needed a pick-me-up, and pick-me-up we got from Partizan. Our 5th Europa League game produced a 5-star performance, a 7-minute hat-trick in the first half for Benjamin Sesko, then goals late on for Lorenzo Luca and Marcus Leonardo. But then another defeat in the league, 2-0 as we lost to Liverpool, and now we're 9th, and the drop down the table is drastic. But we've bounced back with a fabulous 6-1 win against West Brom, some well-worked goals, and we saved the best until last, a goal of the season contender from Romeo Lavia. They're not quite as convincing, but a win is a win, a 1-0 against Forest. And after those back-to-back wins, we've climbed to 6th. It's a very up and down kind of season. Back to the Europa League, and it was Apol Limassol. Ardagula had been underwhelming so far this season. No goals, no assists, but he bagged himself a hat-trick in a 9-0 win. Evan Ferguson also pitched in with a hat-trick of his own. And this turns out to be our biggest ever win, 9-0. We're breaking all sorts of records this season. Against Chelsea, we started poor, conceding twice, 2 goals for Gabriel Vidovic, but in injury time of the first half, Chelsea were all over the place, and they let us back in, first through Lorenzo Luca. But they couldn't even make it until half-time. The ball made its way to Sesko, and he nodded home. In the second half, we capitalised on the comeback and ran out 3-2 winners. We then continued the Carabao Cup run with a 5-0 win against Cardiff. And then here we go, Andrew Omobamidele came whinging about lack of game time, and he's fallen down the pecking order and wants to leave. So I said, fine, off you go, Andrew. Brighton came in for him, and apparently he wants £500,000 compensation due to loss of earnings. The cheeky bastard, is he joking? But we're getting good money for him, so I gave it him. And he rejected them. Andrew, are you kidding me? So now Almeria are in for him, and he wants 900k this time. Just take it and f*** off, Andrew. Do me head in now. And here come Forest. And he is expecting the offer to be accepted as he's interested in joining them. You better not want to pay off, Andrew. 1.4 mil? Oh, you cheeky. Fine. And he's off. Finally. After all that Andrew Omabamidele drama, we had Leicester in the league and we won 4-1. We were 4-0 up inside 25 minutes. The fourth was this screamer from James Ward-Prowse. After 18 games in, we're in the top 4. It's a very Jekyll and Hyde kind of season, with pockets of great form, then pockets of poor form. Up next, it was Arsenal, and do you know what? A 0-0 away from home? A solid point. And then Rooney Bargy won the European Golden Boy. Go on, Rooney lad. And then we decided we were rubbish. We lost 4-0 away at United, and then 4-0 at home to West Ham. Fantastic. Luckily, we didn't have any big games coming up. Oh wait, yes we did, the Carabao Cup semi-final against Aston Villa. The first leg though, we did manage to win 3-0. Rooney with a decent finish opening the scoring, before Sesko doubling the lead on 73 minutes, and Evan Ferguson puts the tie beyond doubt when he bundled home late on. Sticking in the cups, we managed to keep the cup success going as we beat Forest 4-1 in the FA Cup, Thuram getting his first goal for the club. And the Carabao Cup semi-final second leg was up and we went behind early. In an entertaining back and forth game, Evan Ferguson with the pick of the goals with this exquisite finish. It finished 3-3, so 6-3 on aggregate. Final here we come, against Arsenal. But before that we've got the league and it was 1-1 against Bournemouth. Before we got a win against Copenhagen in the Conference League, 4-1. We then delved into the transfer market to sign youngster Thomas Rios for 6.25 million, but I've left him on loan at his club for the rest of the season. We then managed to get back to winning ways in the league with a 1-0 win against Everton, Benjamin Sesko with the only goal of the game. But we lost 3-1 to Sporting in the Europa League, but we qualified in the top 8 on goal difference. Thank God for that 9-0, eh? A precursor of the Carabao Cup Final, and it was a 3-1 win at home to Arsenal. Another brace for Lorenzo Luca. He's been on fire, that lad. And we're in 5th on goal difference with United and Everton breathing down on X. It's very, very tight. And then here we go, deadline day approaches and Bayern Munich are in for Thiago Santos. He wants to leave, he's excellent, but £50 million profit and we're in the red. He's got to go. And we found an 18-year-old prospect as his replacement, Thalis Dianapapas. Left or right back, bags of potential, both footed. I'm happy with this one. And then it was another 4-1 win against Leicester. This time the goals spread out over the game a bit more and we're scoring plenty. Hopefully, we won't get caught out on goal difference. And then in the FA Cup, it took till the second half to break the deadlock against Bristol City, but once we started the scoring, we comfortably ran out 4-0 winners. Let's hope we can avoid everyone moaning this season about not getting far in the FA Cup. Back to the league and we beat Palace 2-0 and one of our goal scorers, Fabian Rieder, broke his collarbone. That's him out for 6 weeks. A miserable 1-1 draw with Villa and the form went from bad to worse. We followed this up with a 3-2 loss to Chelsea. We've already gone from bad to worse, we've gone from worse to even worse. Championship side Burnley in the FA Cup and we lost 2-1 and we've now got a mutiny on our hands. Morale is in the mud. Good job there's no important games coming, eh? And it's Carabao Cup Final time and it's Southampton versus Arsenal. And we're the underdogs, but I believe, Ted Lasso style, and the belief grew after 80 seconds when Benny Sesko put us ahead. On 25 minutes, Sesko doubled our lead. We've got one hand on the trophy. Camavinga bundled home from a scrappy interchange before Kieran Tierney did that. I mean, yeah, fair enough, fella. It stayed that way until Eddie Nketiah broke through and rounded the keeper. In injury time of extra time no less. What a kick in the balls. So close, yet so far. I think we've thrown this one away, lads. If that's not bad enough, it just gets worse. The injury list keeps growing. Ox and Luca the latest casualties. But then it's the knockout phase, the Europa League, and we had Copenhagen, who we've already beaten in the league phase. Over the tie, we ran out 8-1 winners, 4-0 and 4-1. Quarter-finals, here we come. It's Sociedad, who we beat in the Conference League semi-finals last season. Can history repeat itself? Back to winning ways in the league with a 3-0 win against Forest, a Benjamin Sesko hat-trick. We then repeated the 3-0 scoreline with a win against bottom of the league, West Brom. Annoyingly, Thuram is now injured for a few weeks, but fortunately, there's an international break for 75% of his injury. Oh, and we got a poor youth intake. Great. I thought Southampton had a great youth system. Where's the Wonder Kids? We beat runaway leaders Spurs 1-0. It won't dent their title hopes as they're way out in front, but it helps our Champions League hopes, especially as 5 teams qualified through coefficient spots last season. Our Rooney Bargie's injured. The injury list just keeps on growing and is quickly getting out of hand. The first leg against Sociedad was a 3-0 win, and we set a Europa League goals record with that, and we even missed a penalty. We could have another 4 games as well. All being well. Back to the Premier League, and we had second place Liverpool, and unfortunately lost 2-0. But then we progressed to the semi-finals of the Europa League, winning 2-1 away at Sociedad, which sets up a tie with Manchester City. Quite a scary prospect, but they're underachieving massively, and we beat them 7-0 earlier in the season, so... We dropped points with a 1-1 draw against Newcastle, which leaves us in 5th. It's tight for Champions League qualification. A comfortable 2-0 win away at relegation threatened Wolves with a few key players rested, ready for the Europa League game against Manchester City midweek. And the first leg was dramatic, going behind 3 times and coming back 3 times. Evan Ferguson popping up with a well-taken first-time finish, catching the keeper off guard and slotting home. 3-3. And with no game in between, we had a great rest and strode into the home leg, and we were out of sight by half-time. A brilliant 4-1 win, and we're in consecutive European finals. Roma awaits. There's still the matter of the league and Champions League qualification. We beat Brentford 2-1, keeping our dreams alive, Lorenzo Luca scoring 2, and the second, a wonderful trademark chip. We're in pole position after 35 games and a game in hand. It's very tight. Not only could we miss out on the Champions League, but Europe entirely. Also, if we lose to Roma, we could genuinely end up with nothing. And with 3 games left in the league and the Europa League final, Benny Sesko is injured and his season's over. The marquee signing, £47 million, and our top scorer. We're in a situation too, as Marcus Leonardo is injured as well. With only 2 strikers fit, they needed to step up, and both bagged braces in a 5-0 win against Norwich. 36 games in, we've got a 6-point cushion and a superior goal difference. This should be enough. With the skeleton team, we lost 2-1 to Leeds, resting our first choice 11 for the Europa League final against Roma. With other teams slipping up, we've been lucky and we've done enough. We may finish 5th on goal difference, but we're in pole position for 4th. And it's Europa League final time. We went ahead early with a goal from Evan Ferguson. It was a cagey game, but Kefren Turam scored a beautifully placed effort, making it 2-0 in the second half. And that's how it finished. We're the champions of Europe. Europa League, yeah. And with that, we've officially got Champions League football and been given £65 million to strengthen. We still got the final game. We had City in the final game and they won. Who cares? I think we're in a fantastic position going into next season. League title challenge? Where to spend that £65 million?